Hi, in this video I'm going to talk about a quadratic function. This is a part 5 where the quadratic function is in the general form, which is already in the form of which all the three terms you have, the ax squared, the bx and the c. So it means that these two quadratic will have term ax squared bx plus c, ax squared plus bx plus c, which follows that all the three terms you have. So for this type of quadratic function, so it's better for you to do completing the square, right? Completing the square. So at first you see that you have to do completing the square because you want to identify the maximum and minimum point. That is the purpose of doing completing the square, where you're using the maximum and minimum point as a reference, reference to sketching the graph. So at first you must know that also that the graph, the shape of the graph. So if there is a negative in front of the x squared, the a is a negative number, the graph will be open downwards, right? Open downwards, which consists of maximum point, right? Maximum point. So very simple. The first thing now you need to do is completing the square. So in order to do completing the square, you must make sure the coefficient for x squared must be 1, right? So you should factorize the negative and you have x to the power of 2 minus with 2x. Alright, and the negative 4 I leave it because the negative 4 is not involved in the completing the square. I just complete the square for the first two terms. I take out the negative, positive, right? So now I do completing the square for the bracket here. Alright, I do completing the square. Penyempurnaan kuasa 2. Completing the squares. Alright, so I do complete the square before I sketching the graph. So I have minus, then I write as x squared minus with 2x, and I add 2 bracket, 2 bracket into the bracket inside here. So x squared, so to do completing the square. So then I take the b term, here, I take negative 2 divided by 2, negative 2 divided by 2. Then I have negative x to the power of 2 minus with 2x plus with negative 1 to the power of 2, right? Negative 1 to the power of 2 minus with negative 1 to the power of 2. This is the basic way of doing completing the square by adding these two, right? So now you have negative x squared minus 2x. So sorry, you already can start right in the complete form. So ax is x, the negative 1 square, right? Negative 1 square. For this three term, I rewrite as x minus 1 square. And this one will be negative 1 square, you have 1, right? Then minus 4 is outside. So you have to expand the negative inside. So you have negative x minus 1 square, negative, positive 1, negative 4, right? Positive 1, negative 4. So finally, your fx you have right in a complete form. So which is a complete square minus with 3, right? So you have to complete the square from the start until this form. So we were using this form to sketching the graph, right? Sketching the graph by using this this function that already be completing the square. So now I draw the function to be here, right? To be here. So I draw here. So I sketching y, the axis, y and x, right? I have y and x. So now this is a graph that open downwards, right? So from here you can read one information here. Means that you can read the maximum point. The maximum point. So very simple. The maximum point. You just take the negative 1 here, the negative 1 will become turned to positive 1, and the negative 3 you just take the negative 3. Okay, if this is positive 2, here will be negative 2. If this is positive 3, here will be negative 3. If here is negative 3, here will be 3. The sign will change, but this one you just follow, right? So this will be your maximum point. So now you have 1, 2, 3, negative 3. So now you know the graph is the maximum point is here. So it means above there are no graph. So I was sketching the graph here. So the maximum, they will go, this is the graph, all right? The graph for this function. So they will also intercept the y-axis. Intercept y, okay? Intercept y means, if you intercept y means the x will be 0, right? The x will be equals to 0, right? So your value of y here will be negative 0 power of 2 plus with 2 times 0 plus with 2 times 0 minus with 4, right? So you will get negative 4. Exactly, they will intercept at negative 4, right? So this is your graph for fx equals to negative x squared plus 2x minus 4. Very simple. Just by completing the square, you will know the maximum point. Then you know how the graph turn, right? So now you can identify the domain as well. The domain is always negative infinity to infinity for all the quadratic function that are not restricted domain, right? So the graph is everywhere for the x-axis, but the range is limited so to some space here. So means that the graph is start moving, the graph is going, the y value is moving, the maximum they reach will be negative 3, right? After that they got no graph. So means from the negative infinity up to 3, all right? Up to negative 3. So this is the graph for this quadratic function. So you also can using algebraic. This is graphical method, all right? Graphical method of find the domain, find the range. So you also can using algebraic way to find the range. Very simple. So you also need to do the you already do the completing the square. Then you use this function. This is come from this function, right? So as start, I know that I know that fx is negative. I know that fx is negative x minus 1 square, x minus 1 square minus 3, right? So I know that this x minus 1 square control the output for fx. So it means that x minus 1 square, you know that anything square, you will be at least 0, right? Sekurang-kurangnya kosong. So if there is a negative here, I multiply negative, right? I multiply negative, then I have x minus 1 square. So of course you multiply negative, this thing will become always less than 0 or equal to 0, right? So then you see there is a minus 3. So I minus 3. This is without sketching the graph. So you minus 3. So of course this side also you minus 3. Then you see that this one is actually this one, right? This is actually the value of y, right? The fx. So it means that your fx is always less than or equal to negative 3, which is y always less than negative 3. So therefore the range of f is from negative infinity up to maximum negative 3. This is called at most negative 3. Right? This is the algebraic way. Okay? Algebraic way. So means using algebraic to explain why the range, the value of y is maximum is negative 3. And this is using graphical way. Right? So I think I'm going to do for another question in another video. Alright? Let's see that another video.